Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful Rabbit Hole, King DL, Warren Frey, Grim Clover, Internet Bloodsports, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. This is a video that's been long overdue. I cannot believe how little I've talked about Overwatch, one of the most heavily AstroTurf products I think I've ever seen, right? I didn't hear anyone talk about this in 2015 or 2016. I didn't hear anyone talk about like how fake and gay this game was, how like it had no real momentum behind it, how like the mechanics were interesting, how the designs were interesting, how like Blizzard didn't seem to have put together a competent product. Like, nobody really cared about the obvious lack of support, the inability to keep things going, like the focus on loot boxes, the terrible lore, retconning everyone to be gay, just adding in new heroes that like are disgusting to look at and have no real appeal to anyone. Terrible balance patches, just forcing the esports scene. Like, I can go on and on about like how much I hate Overwatch. And I think nobody else really understood that, honestly, because I think Blizzard had some of the biggest cocksuckers in the Western video game world. I'm not very familiar with Blizzard. I didn't grow up playing their games other than like StarCraft 64, which I did enjoy back in the day. I don't know a lot about the company or its history, its legacy, but like looking back and becoming familiar with them, how the fuck did anything they did slide? Like Diablo 3, the big one, always online service. Why did you let that pass? Like, why did you keep telling us that, oh, the game's going to get better soon, guys? Like, they're going to fix the problem. Like, why did that game just fail to sell? Why did you just refuse to support it, right? Why did that game not bomb? Okay, Hearthstone, when that was announced, like a fucking trading card game, laziest fucking thing any developer can do, in my opinion. Why did that not cause backlash? Like Diablo Immortal, that did cause backlash, but like that doesn't seem to have like translated into anything real. Actually, I think Diablo Immortal is kind of the point where like even the most hardcore dedicated Blizzard fanboys were starting to suspect that something was wrong at Blizzard. But like seeing this, right? Seeing them constantly like do Overwatch announcements and pretend that they're like interesting or innovative or like anybody cares, it's pathetic. It really is. The only people in my personal life who play Overwatch are the kind of brain dead monkeys who will like play anything you sit down in front of them. Like the same kind of people who I'm sure latched onto My Little Pony or Star Wars or like The Mandalorian or like any of this like shit they've been throwing at us for the past couple of years. Rick and Morty, any adult cartoon series, really. Like, these kind of people will consume any kind of product as long as it's approved to be like cool and trendy. And like that's kind of the feeling I've always gotten with Overwatch is that like its popularity was due to the fact that it was supposed to be good and not because of anything it actually did or any innovations it brought to the table. The thing that I personally was really offended by when this game was first announced was the focus on like, oh man, like how many color shooters have you seen that are this colorful? And I'm just like, it's 2016. Splatoon came out last year. Splatoon 2 will come out the following year. Splatoon 3 will come out in July, on September 7th, 2022. Like, Splatoon was way more innovative, had way more technical depth, way more weapon variety, way more skill, way more interesting lore, better character designs, better music, a bigger success story than Overwatch will ever be. But the thing is, because Splatoon was supposed to be a failure and Overwatch was supposed to be a success, we saw game journalists before Overwatch even came out insisting that like it was going to be the next big thing, it was going to be a phenomenon, and that you have to support it, you have to be on board with this. It's going to be big on the esports scene, and it never was, honestly. Like, here's the thing people don't understand about Overwatch is that Blizzard is inflating the player numbers. People don't understand how this works, but in Asian countries, this is just an example. Like, you buy your amount of playtime Basically. So you spend money to play for a certain amount of time on these Blizzard titles. I know they do this for WoW. I know they do this for Overwatch. I'm not sure what else they do it for. The thing is though, like if you pay for a certain amount of time and then stop playing, that time stays on your account. And because you still have time, you're still technically a player, even though you've given up on the game because it's shit. And Blizzard, I feel, has been inflating their numbers based on based on these kind of tactics for years now, because there is no way in hell that games like Sea of Thieves or Overwatch have 30 million players. You're seeing them throw that number all over the place these days. Like, oh man, this game has 30 million players. Like, where are they? Like, they're not talking about the game on any message board I've ever frequent. Like, every time they do a major Overwatch update, all I see is people bitching about how terrible the game is, right? Like, there is no merchandise. I don't know who the characters are. I still know nothing about the lore, right? Like, the only thing that ever seems to like get any kind of traction is whenever they confirm a character is gay, which always seems to be done to like deflect from like whatever controversy is going on at Blizzard right now. Like, I think they did that uh, following the Diablo Immortal debacle. I think they're doing that now with the sexual assault allegations. Like, it feels like Blizzard just doesn't have a clue, right? They are incapable of producing good games, and that seems to be the trend of every developer that chose to not develop on Nintendo platforms. Is that they all chose to like chase quick bucks and trends rather than like actually create like interesting new video games or experiences. That has been the trend. In fact, we've seen Nintendo partners who had a history of putting out good work. People like Silicon Knights, like Factor 5, like Platinum Games, like Level 5. Like, the instant they pull themselves away from Nintendo to become more independent and go mobile or support the real consoles, they go bankrupt and completely fold and never really put out anything major ever again, right? Like Dennis Dyack, the only reason anybody even remembers his name is because of Eternal Darkness, like 2002. Like, that is the trend we've been seeing with these companies, is that they're trying they're trying to get away from daddy Nintendo. They're trying to build up their companies to compete, to stay relevant, to like stay ahead of the curve, but it's not working anymore. Overwatch had like the biggest marketing budget I think I've seen thrown at any game ever. It was insane the amount of shit I was seeing. Like, from people like pretending they cared about the lore, like to the characters, to like you know building Overwatch stadiums, like in real life, for esports that were never used. Like, the weird shit they tried to pull with this game to try and force it into being popular. And now in 2022, it does feel like, I think, we're beginning to see the winds of change. We are, I think, it's going to be generally accepted 10, 20 years from now that Splatoon was always the better shooter. It was always more innovative. It was always more fun. It had way better support. It got actual quality sequels with new features, new mechanics, and new modes. Meanwhile, Overwatch still doesn't even have a single player campaign. Like, 6 years in, and they had to like soft reboot it with this sequel that seems to just be like an excuse to charge people for to try and like reinvigorate interest in the property, when really there is no interest. Like, nobody cares about Overwatch. It's a dead brand, and gamers are the most low IQ group of people in existence, right? So I think game companies don't understand that when you you get them hooked on a live service game, something that's supposed to be like pushing live transactions, something that's supposed to be played for like forever. Like, once that audience leaves, you're not really getting them back. Like, you can't win them back with a sequel. Like, because you should have been updating the game and keeping those people like invested. But no, you couldn't do that with Overwatch. And they're trying to bounce back and make this happen with Overwatch 2, but it's just not going to work. It is going to be a complete failure. Splatoon 3 will always be the superior game.